So to begin this attack, we need a few things here. We need man in the middle 6, so we're going to go ahead and just say mitm6, and we're going to say a domain. Now my domain here is marvel.local, so we'll do a domain of marvel.local. We'll spin that up, and we're going to just start getting replies coming in from different devices in our network. Okay, so from here, what we need to do is also set up a relay attack. So now that relay attack is going to look something like this. NTLM relay x.py. This should look familiar. We're going to do a -6 because we're only going to work with IPv6. We're going to do a -T for our target, and our target is going to be via LDAP secure. This is why we set up that certificate. We could have done LDAP. Most environments have that certificate running, so it's important to do LDAP secure. And we're just going to point this right at the domain controller. So whatever your domain controller IP address is, mine's sitting at 140. For this WH, we're just going to use a WPAD. So I'm just going to call this fake WPAD.marvel.local. And then we're going to do a -L, and I'm just going to call this loot me. -L is for loot. So if we set up loot, we can dump out some information that'll be useful to us, and we'll see how that works. So let's go ahead and just hit enter on this. And this is still getting some spoof replies, but we're going to speed this along. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to my Windows 10 machine. I'm just going to reboot this sucker. And this is going to allow us to see this in action. What's happening is IPv6 is sending out a reply, right? And it's saying, hey, who's got my DNS? And it sends that out about every 30 minutes, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're just going to speed that up by shutting a computer down and then restarting it. It's going to actually go ahead and make this go a little bit faster. So we're going to try to authenticate when we restart. It's going to try to authenticate first as the Punisher machine. You could see this by the Punisher $. And you could see that it's enumerating the relayed credentials. It's going to take a while on large domains. That's fine. And it's just succeeding right now. It's trying to see what kind of privileges it has right now. So it might take a minute. And it's dumping any info into the loot dir. So if we open this up, let's see if there's anything in here right now. We can just go ahead and just say ls, and there's this loot me folder. So we can cd into loot me. And this is so exciting. So look at all this here. Domain computers, domain computers by operating system, by just domain computers, domain groups, domain policies, domain trusts, domain users by group. Now, I love this because we can come in and we could say something like Firefox, I want to see the domain users by group. And we can just look at the domain users by group, and I'm right after the domain admins. On top of that, you know, when you have a crappy kind of admin going on, what about this SQL service that we set up? And remember when we put in the description that password is mypassword123? Uh-oh, you know, people think that these descriptions aren't visible. And look, it's visible to us, and we barely did anything, right? We just succeeded with an account. We succeeded with a computer. The computer was capable of accessing this domain controller via LDAP-S, logging into it, and dumping out any useful information to us. That's scary, right? We have all this information in our hands now. We can see who the domain administrators are and the enterprise admins, who all the users are. Who do we need to attack in this environment for this to work in our favor? Now, let's do one more thing. Let's go ahead and go into our Windows 10 machine, and we're just going to say password exclamation like this, and you're going to see what's going to happen. So let's go ahead, and my mouse will come back to me. We'll go ahead over here, and here shortly it should attempt to log in as this user, and we'll see if it works. And there it did, and it's so fast. It just blazed through. Let me go ahead and Control C. So what just happened here? An admin logged into a computer. That's what happened. That's it. And you can see the administrator logged in somewhere on this network. It succeeded. It targeted LDAP, okay? And then it comes through and it tries to make a new user for us. First, it sets up an access control list for us, and that's awesome. And then it tries to create a new user, and then it says, hey, adding new user, and here's a username, and here's a password. Okay, now we own this domain, because what it's going to do is it's going to try to go in and it's going to try to grab all this information for us, and it's amazing what we can do. So let's save this information out and just see how it works. Another thing, look at this. Let's go ahead and go to our domain controller. If we go to our domain controller here and we go to our users and groups, let's refresh it. This is before the attack. Let's go ahead and just do a refresh really quick, if I can find the refresh button, or I'll just refresh from here. And now look, the NFSG, whatever, this user is now in here, and they're a domain user, but they set up a policy for us to have exclusive privileges with that access control. And what happens is if we actually control C and we just cd ... we ls, it puts this ACL pwn restore here, so we can actually restore the ACL to what it was before. But as of right now, it's allowing this user through in a special ACL that was created with this attack here. So this is a fantastic attack, and this isn't the only thing that it can do. It does so much stuff. I'm going to actually link down below some amazing things that you can do with this, and I want you to read up on this because it's so fantastic. So I'm gonna put this in here, paste this real quick, and just scroll down a little bit and show you this blog post. And this is one of the ones I use all the time. So you can run this man-in-the-middle 6 with what is called a delegate access. And say, for example, that you can't get an administrator to work. Maybe this computer succeeds. Look at this iCorp W10 $ succeeds. You could still add a new computer, not just a user, a new computer with the username and password. And you can utilize that to attack the computer that authenticated you. You can impersonate users on that computer that you use to set that up with. It's an awesome attack. It's called delegate impersonation or delegate access, and it is it's amazing. So I do recommend checking this out. Again, I'll put this down in the resources below. Great blog. So that is it for this attack. In the next video, we're going to cover how to actually defend against this attack and what you can do. It's fairly simple, but we'll still cover it. So that's it. I'll catch you over in the next video.